Here we are inside the Swift Fairway 530. If we firstly move to the control panel, we will turn the 12 volt on just here. Once we've done this, we can then turn on the water pump. The water pump needs to be on for you to be able to get water out of your taps and fill the boiler up if it's been drained down. You'll currently see that we're using the caravan battery and that we also have main supply connected. View levels will just give us an indication of the voltage of the leisure battery. When we are disconnected from the mains and we're hitched up to the tow vehicle, once the engine has been started, this light here and this light here will illuminate to let you know the alternator is charging both batteries. Beside this, we then have the Aldi control panel for the heating and hot water, on and off on this one here. Again, this is just showing us that we have main supply connected, and it's also given us an internal temperature of the caravan. If I now press menu, it will bring up its basic functions. So, the top one is the thermostat for the heating. Just literally just plus and minus, just pick whatever temperature you would like it to be inside the caravan. Below that we then have hot water. So currently hot water is off. Hot water is now on. And then if I press it for a second time, we're then performing a boost on the boiler. The boost is extremely handy if there's going to be more than one of you having showers in quick succession of each other. If you do perform the boost and the heating is running, the heating will turn off because it needs to take the power away to be able to perform it. If I now drop it back down again, we'll then move to the next two icons here, which are power source. So currently, even though we've selected 25 degrees for the heating and we'll turn water on, at the moment we're still absolutely doing nothing. We need to now pick a power source. So this one here with the lightning strike is main supply. So if I now press plus, we can run the system on 1 kilowatt, 2 kilowatts or 3 kilowatts, just depending on the amperage of the site that you're on, to stop yourself from tripping. And if we don't have any main supply, we can run on gas. If you have both power supplies available to you, what you can also do is run in dual fuel. This will get you up to temperature extremely quickly and is also very handy through the winter months. If I now press the little spanner, it will bring us into the settings menu. And this first one here is just to set the correct time, day of the week. Once you've done that, you can then set timers. So we have a moon for a night timer, on and off up here. Set the temperature you would like it to be throughout that period, and then set when you want it to begin and when you want it to finish. We can also, by highlighting this one here, invert the backlight, so this white screen goes to black and the right goes to white. And if we want to, we can also command it so we do not produce any hot water throughout that period. The next one is a little picture of a sun, and that is the day timer. This one here is just one big long timer, so you can just have one start and stop, and it can be, so as it shows at the moment, it could come on at Monday and then continue to run until, say, Friday. The next one is prioritise, and this is what the system prioritises in using whilst in dual fuel mode. So it currently favours main supply over gas. So once you get up to temperature, it will then normally cut the gas off and just maintain on the electricity. If you are on an extremely low amp site, you can flip it on its head so it consumes more gas, less electric. This next one here is just thermostat offset. So if you don't think the internal thermostat is quite correct, you can just tweak it by a few degrees. Next we just have brightness control, antimicrobial. If you are going to use this, you need to have your night mode active as well, and then basically at about 2-3 o'clock in the morning, antimicrobial will come on and kill off any bacteria that might be in the system. Pump settings, just leave on thermal. If you have it on continuous, the circulation pump for the heating will just continually run all the time, which is not required. If you would like it to beep every time you press a button. Language, external start, that's if you had a SIM box added, and then you could control it via the Aldi app. These ones are not used on this model. The only one that I can actually use is this one, which I will explain in a moment. Service will just let you know what everything is up to. It's more for the workshop, but that way you can view what the temperature of the water is, etc. Full factory reset if there's a problem with it. And installed accessories. So if I now highlight the load monitor, and we then go back, you'll now see it's in blue, so we can use it. If you know how many amps the site is that you're on, you can then pick on here. So let's say we're on a 10 amp site. It does not matter that I've now put it up to 3 kilowatts, as it will control and stop us from tripping. If we now move right to the front of the caravan and we move to the bench seat just here, if we now just remove the cushions and we now lift up, you will see we have the location of the consumer unit just here. So we have the 3 individual MCBs, RCD and test button just here. And then we have all the 12 volt fuses just here. They are all labelled up and then correspond on the sticker just here. So we have the 12 volts this side and the mains this side. You can also now see the battery charger just here. Buttons along the top, mainly control stuff that use main supply. So this one here is for heating and hot water on main. So if I turn this off, I will just confuse the control panel by the entrance door. And again, I can turn the battery charger on and off, but we want to be able to charge the leisure battery whilst we're hooked up to main supply. These are more for maintenance than anything else. Next we have reverse polarity. This will illuminate in red if that is connected to the van. These newer Sargent units actually reverse the polarity and make it safe, so there is no need to do anything else. And then lastly we have full system shutdown. So if you're not using the caravan for long periods of time, what you can do is press this black button here and it will kill any residual draw on the leisure battery. The water pump just sits here and the surge dampener just there. We then have the drain valve for the Aldi boiler just here to drain all the water out of the boiler for winterization and for travel. All you need to do is just make sure the water pump is turned off and then flip this like so. As you can hear, I've got the water pump turned on at the moment. If I now flap this back over again, all the water pump is now going to do is refill the boiler up from the aqua roll outside. There we go, and now it's completely full again. So that's all you really need to do when refilling your boiler. Fill up your aqua roll, drop your submersible in, turn the water pump on, and then it will begin refilling the boiler. I do always suggest that, especially in the winter months, when draining down, that you also open up all the taps. That way it will release any airlocks in the system and make it drain off better. But secondly, if there is a harsh frost, what we hope will happen is the water will be forced out the end of the taps into an icicle instead of expanding the pipework and splitting it. When you have done this, it will take a little bit longer to re-prime up the boiler, as you will need to blow a heck of a lot of air out of the system, so the taps will cough and splutter for a bit, but once they're running freely, then close the taps up and then the system will fully prime. If we now close this one back down again, and we then move across to the other side, underneath here we mainly have storage, but we do have the location of the alarm just here, and sitting right at the very back, it's a bit dark underneath here, but right back there are some more 12-volt fuses, and they are for stuff usually on the outside of the van, mainly like marker lights, indicators, etc. Down here we have the PIR for the alarm, so it will flash green every now and then just to let you know it's working. With these Sergeant alarms, the fob looks like this. The top button is just a torch. Beneath that we then have arm disarm, so 1 beep armed, 2 beeps disarmed. We then have warning light on and off, and then the last one, which is a letter P, stands for program, which means you can alter the characteristics of the alarm. You can't accidentally do anything just by pressing it. You do have to hold it down for 10 seconds, and then basically you then need to look at the PIR because it will change and flash differently, and then you can then put it into different modes like high wind mode, pet friendly mode. But I do suggest that you get the little instruction leaflet that comes in your book pack before attempting to do anything like that. Staying up the front, we then have the stereo just here, on and off on this button just here, and then this one will also switch you between your auxiliary, your AM, your FM, etc. just here, and then it's fairly normal stuff. Search for radio stations just here, change tracks if you've got a CD in. Next we have the Dometic fridge. So on and off on this one here. We're currently on main supply with a little picture of the 2-pin plug. If I want to run it on gas, just highlight the flame. These units automatically ignite themselves, so you don't need to do anything else. And then beside that we then have 12-volt maintain for when we're towing. If I press this at the moment, it will beep at us like so, because obviously we're not hitched up to anything. This is the noise you will also hear if the unit fails to light on gas, or if you're running it on mains and you do not have mains supply. If it does fail to light on gas, but you think it may be just due to the fact of a bit of air in the system because you've just put a new gas bottle on, what you can do is press this button here and it will then attempt to light again. Temperature control just here, and then push down to open, and then back off again just like so. We then have the microwave just here that will just work when we're hooked up to main supply. It is just plugged in just here. It's always advisable to remove the plate for travel. We then have the fairly normal controls that we get on microwaves. We have quick start just here, stop, etc. And then we have obviously timer, etc. Auto cook, all the usual stuff. In this other overhead locker just here, we have the solar panel regulator. We do not need to do anything with it. It will just let you know roughly what it's up to with the little lights on just here. So flashing green light just lets you know that there is UV light hitting the panel. and then the solid light above it, which is green at the moment, just lets you know that the battery is at as good as optimum level and not really requiring a charge. Whenever the solar panel is popping in what I really class as a hard charge, this solid green light here will change to red to let you know. Above my head just here we have the Omnivent fan. Wind to put the roof vent up, middle button to then turn the unit on, and we then have arrows out for extraction and arrows in for cooling. Variable fan speed just by pressing. Always make sure that all roof vents are down for travel. We then have the hob just here, so again we have one electric hot plate that runs off main supply and is operated just here. Everything else is gas, so it is just a matter of basically pushing in, twisting, and then pressing the igniter. Here we go. Beneath that we then have the grill. Same again. Push in, twist, and ignite. And then the oven. Beside the oven, in this cupboard here, we have some gas isolation taps. They are colour coded, and really wherever there's a gas appliance you'll usually find a gas isolation tap quite close. They're all in the on position. Quite frankly, they can stay like that. Again, I always say they're more for maintenance. If you smell gas, go to the source and turn the gas bottle off. As we now move into the washroom, we have obviously the basin just here, and then the Thetford toilet just here. The bowl does move about. To open to the cassette, just pull on the grey lever, and then to flush, just press the blue button just here. And then you will get an illumination here to let you know when the cassette needs emptying. Do make sure that this is closed, or if you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out. In the wardrobe, we have a television aerial just here. So to raise the mast, just undo the collar and then push up. This little green window here just represents the back of the aerial, so you know roughly where you're pointing it. Once you've got it in the position you require, then lock into place. The H stands for horizontal. What we can do, if we need to still do additional tuning, is obviously flip it into a vertical state just by turning the tail just here. Do make sure that you're back to horizontal for stowing, and then make sure that we're back down for travel. In conjunction with the television aerial just here, we then have the digital amplifier for it just there. Make sure it's obviously on, and then control the boost just here, on and off on the top. Also in here we have the header tank for the Aldi heating system. So you just need to make sure that your fluid is between the minimum and the maximum. Always take your reading once the heating is up to temperature, as it will expand. If it does need topping up, do make sure that you are using Aldi top-up solution. And then all we do is just remove the cap and top up, no differently really than what you would do with a car radiator.